They just spent all the cards we hate. Wizards just spent all the cards we hate. What up, brothers and sisters, and welcome to MTG Malone with me, MTG Malone. I'm so excited. Celebrate good cards give gone. Oh baby, Kazoo Solo. This is for you, my friends. I told you. I was right. Fireworks here. They banned all the cards. They banned Monstrous Rage, Cori-steel Cutter, This Town Ain't Big Enough, Abuelo's Awakening, Up the Beanstalk, Hopeless Nightmare. But this is just Heartfire Hero? Heartfire Hero? No more turn 1 Heartfire Hero into Manifold Mouse into sadness? Forevermore we're free from this curse. Yes, you will still find ways to get Omniscience out with Abuelo's gone, but let's start with the beans. With the beans and potatoes, or whatever, the meat and the potatoes of all of this. Oh my god, I cannot freaking believe this. Is this the right one? Yes, it is the right one. Look at this, they banned them all. Cori-steel Cutter, Abuelo's Awakening, Monstrous Rage, Heartfire Hero, freaking Up the Beanstalk, Hopeless Nightmare, This Town Ain't Big Enough, and everything. I will give you the TLDR, which I learned today means too long didn't read. Well, I didn't learn it today, but there's a lot of text here. There's a lot of explanation. But if you want to condense it down, you came to the right freaking place. And everything that is written in here is exactly what I said in my videos, where I said that bans will be incoming. Well, we knew that there would be an announcement, but we didn't know what an announcement would hold, so yeah. By the way, I just arrived home right this minute when I started recording. I did not sleep a single second. It's 6 in the afternoon. I did not sleep a single second last night because I was recording secret stuff until, 5 in the morning, and my train arrived at 5:30, so I had to leave then. So yeah, I traveled home, went to the doctor's, went to get some mochis in another town, traveled here with the first train home back. Boom, video for you. Let's talk about bans. Cori-steel Cutter. The reason why everything else got the freaking ban hammer. So yeah, well, I mean, not like directly, maybe like the direct reason, but it's at least like peripheral reason for it. So Cori-steel Cutter, absolutely annoying. Way too much value. If you have played against Cori-steel Cutter, the problem is not that, like, it feels unbeatable. It feels absolutely unbeatable. That is what makes Cori-steel Cutter this strong, is that it is in a meta where we have Opt, where we have like, other cheap spells for 1 or 2 mana, like, Shocks. We have all the things. We have the return target spell to hand into the Floodmaw kind of stuff, We have like small creatures that are very, very good with the Swift Spear. All of these kind of cards make Cori-steel Cutter so resilient. Because if you get rid of like the creature that's below it, the next turn there would just be another one, and another one, and another one. Just bam, 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 bam. One monk after another. And that is not what we want to see. This is no Kung Fu movie. So yeah, that is the reason why. Cori-steel Cutter is just super, super strong. And it has also seen, like, what they say, a rise in other formats, like Modern, for example, where I'm playing as myself. Yes, I know, but it's the only deck I could afford. And so Cori-steel Cutter too strong. Other decks have to build around it. And that is why we saw the resurgence of Mono Red, because Mono Red was able to just put in 4 Magebane Lizard. Exactly what I said. The exact reasoning. And the thing is that so many people played Cori-steel Cutter that it became a problem. I talked about it in my last video. Like, it has more entries than the next 4 decks combined. Or was it even 6 decks? 4 to 6 decks. Let's say 4 so that I don't sound like I want to, exaggerate or whatever. That is what is up. That is literally what is freaking up. Cori-steel Cutter has been played so much that people have to work around it. So Abuelo's Awakening, stuff like that, maybe was a little bit strong enough, but then the best answer was actually Mono Red. It's exactly what I said. That is why Mono Red also, won the Pro Tour, because it's just a little bit stronger, and the cards it can use don't hurt it too much if it hits what it targets with those cards. Those cards being Magebane Lizard. As long as the Magebane Lizard is not a dead card in their main board where they're playing it, They're good to go. They're absolutely good to freaking go. It's the heat of the sun in my room. So that is the big reason. So that also led to what I just said. Other decks that will be super strong, that were just like held back by this, were also Abuelo's Awakening decks. So Cori-steel Cutter held back Abuelo's Awakening. There was like some Abuelo's decks that tried to beat it, you know, but in the end, Cori-steel Cutter, just a sheer mass, it overrun him like Zerglings. You know, that was just exactly what it is. There was just mashed potatoes. That is what the Abuelo's Awakening decks were. Sometimes they won, yes, but they had to fight very hard and be very, very, like, lucky with their draws. And have, like, some luck that the opponent draws kind of poorly. Or not normal. Or not normal enough, you know? Something like that. So Abuelo's Awakening getting banned instead of Omniscience, I totally agree with that. Because it's the turn 4, potentially, you know, your turn 3. Kind of that makes it so hard to interact with. So yeah, I think Abuelo's Awakening gone is very, very good. That brings us to Monstrous Rage and Heartfire Hero. Monstrous Rage, I called it. You saw my video. We made a little montage at the beginning.
So far,
and
that's
Monstrous
exactly
Rage,
what's happening.
Monstrous Rage.
Double Monstrous Rage?
You know, there's...
Plus the Monstrous Rage here.
Monstrous Rage. Oh, double Monstrous Rage. You know, this was just one Pro Tour top 8. Nothing else. One Pro Tour top 8. So Monstrous Rage, in my opinion, was like an easy pick. Easy freaking pick, you know? First draft, right away, Monstrous Rage needs to go. I was very surprised that they banned Cori-steel Cutter, to be honest, but Monstrous Rage doesn't surprise me one single bit. So yeah, that is very, very good. And Monstrous Rage just... I don't need to explain why the card is bonkers. I explained it a lot, but I will like... Come on, I will do it one last time, now that it's gone. It's finally gone, man. Finally freaking gone. Monstrous Rage. The stupid freaking enchantment token that I left behind. That was the problem, you know? Not giving the trample, the 2-1 for one turn, you know? No, it was the constant forever 1-1 trample forever, you know? That was just stupid. Stupid. Just get it out of here, man. No more blocking allowed. Finally, we can go back to blocking, you know? That is pretty good. Especially with their second edition of cards that they banned. Heartfire freaking Hero. After this, we still have 3 cards left. 3 cards left after this one. And I just started talking about this one, so it's a total of 4. Heartfire Hero just being too busted as a card itself, together with something like the Manifold Mouse. I believe that the decision to say Manifold Mouse is alright over Heartfire Hero. I prefer Heartfire Hero Gun and Manifold Mouse. Because the problem is at a certain point you're never ever allowed again to block the Heartfire Hero. Because it will grow so big and strong if you don't find the removal. And let's just say that Mono Red has ways to get you down to like 5, 6, 7 life on turn 3. You know, it's feasible. So let's say 7 life is feasible. And then you have a Heartfire Hero that like attacks you for 4, you know, you block it, you take 8 anyway, 4 anyways. It's stupid, especially with a Monstrous Rage. Now it tramples through, it deals you the damage, still dies, deals you the damage while dying. Heartfire Hero Gone is very good, especially if they had to make the choice between the two, because they couldn't let these 2 cards live together in the same environment. Heartfire Hero is fine in a vacuum. It's not good. It's not... yay, we have Heartfire Hero in Standard, but it's fine, you know, it's feasible, it's manageable. But together with the Manifold Mouse, bruh, that is just too much. That is just way too much. That is like a melange of things that should not belong together in a Standard format. In like stronger formats, okay, you know, if you have something like that in Pioneer or whatever, you know, where there needs to be strong decks to fight each other. But, you know, in Standard, it's just one step too much. One step too much. Especially with the Offspring, you know? It's still going to be a problem, but, you know, 1 turn slower is a huge difference, especially for Mono Red. So, yeah, I think that is absolutely alright. So, Monstrous Rage and Heartfire Hero, they considered banning only one of them, but they realized that both were equally a problem. So there was no like, let's only ban one, but they were like, let's ban everything that is problematic. Especially if you now cut Cori-steel Cutter, the meta would just be these other decks, and they want to prevent that by cutting down the deck's power level a little bit, so that maybe other decks also have a chance. And one of the decks that will absolutely make a resurgence if we don't like contain it, the fire, before it even starts, is the freaking Zur Overlord deck. That deck absolutely needed a preventive ban now, also with the Up the Beanstalk. Up the Beanstalk is a super impactful card. This and Monstrous Rage were the cards that people wanted banned the most. For me, Up the Beanstalk fell a little bit off favor because it wasn't played anymore that much. Because people just couldn't play it instead of Cori-steel Cutter. If you have Cori-steel Cutter and Up the Beanstalk, why should you play Up the Beanstalk if Cori-steel Cutter is just about a 2-drop? And these two decks, these two cards, on the other hand, are two different aspects of the spectrum, you know? You have either the aggro deck Cori-steel Cutter, or you have the control grindy, play big stuff for it cheap, Up the Beanstalk deck. So you have to make a choice. And this one wins. So Cori-steel Cutter beats Up the Beanstalk. And now that Cori-steel Cutter is gone, Up the Beanstalk would go way back, but it would take Cori-steel Cutter's place. Everybody that doesn't play Cori-steel Cutter now would be playing Up the Beanstalk decks because they're the logical conclusion. And now they ban it just to contain it before it even starts. Just Thanos snap it out of existence. And I think that's a very, very good move. I think this deck is strong, but it's way grindier. It has to earn the grind way more. If Up the Beanstalk would be legendary, Up the Beanstalk for me is like a Prophet's Edict memory level of power, you know? That one is legendary. Up the Beanstalk is not legendary. How many Beanstalks are there? You know what I mean? So yeah, should be legendary. Then it would be a fine card. No need to ban it. It not being legendary and you being able to draw 4 to 8 to 12 cards each turn. It's not even once each turn, you know? It's limitless, legendary-less. That just makes the card way, way, way too freaking good. So banning Up the Beanstalk way from the get-go, super, I applaud everything. Up until now, I'm very happy with every single ban, even though the last 3 bans now might seem to you they're not that needed right now because they're you don't see the cards anymore. The reason is Cori-steel Cutter. So if you ban Cori-steel Cutter, all of these problematic cards will be becoming problematic again. So they just know that. And them being this smart makes me very, very happy because a lot of people have lost their faith and their trust in Wizards when it comes to bannings. And this is fan service at its finest. So yeah, applaud, nice. I slapped my microphone so you know I mean it. So Up the Beanstalk banned, done. 2 left. What are these 2? Hopeless Nightmare and This Town Ain't Big Enough. I name them both together because you mostly see them together in the same deck. That being Dimir to Esper Bounce. Hopeless Nightmare into Pixie, into now also the Chirin, the Kirin, you know, the 2-drop, the Sun Pearl Kirin. Is that the name? Person that doesn't exist? Person that is a wall? Both agree? So yeah, no, Sun Pearl Kirin. Redonkulous deck, and they say that the card also fell out of favor because Cori-steel Cutter, but it would be back, and it's just not fun. And I agree that it's very important to keep formats fun. The thing is, just imagine you're on a play, you mulligan down to 5 or a 6. Let's just say 6. You are on the draw. You're on the draw, okay? So you mulligan down to 6, you draw you already have 1 card less than your opponent. Turn 1, Black Source into Hopeless Nightmare. You're down to 18 and 5 cards now. You draw a card, you're still at 6 cards. So next turn, what do? You play your land, nothing else, you pass, or you play your Lenoir Elf or whatever, you know, maybe your aggro, even worse now, because you have less resources. Play your 1-drop, pass a turn. Now you're down to 5 cards again, you know, or 4 cards even. 4 cards. Now they just return the Hopeless Nightmare to the hand plate again. Now you're down to 3 cards and 16 life. It's crazy. And they have a 2/2 on the battlefield now that they can block comfortably with. They now play temporary lockdown, and jeebus, that is just insane. Just absolutely insane. So yeah, temporary lockdown will be gone soon. And then Hopeless Nightmare, also played in this deck because you just target your This Town Ain't Big Enough, sorry. This Town Ain't Big Enough, not Hopeless Nightmare. Hopeless Nightmare and This Town Ain't Big Enough are played together, but I'm talking about This Town Ain't Big Enough because it's just too stupid good. It shouldn't be cheaper if you target your own stuff. It should be return stuff your opponent controls to their hand for 3. But if you target if you target something you control, it should be 5 then. Not 5 and 2 if you target something you control. Just return 2 of your best things to your hand and play them again. This is just stupid. Stupid. And we all hated that. So you play those with the Storm Chaser's talent, return to your hand, infinite loop of This Town Ain't Big Enoughs, and Storm Chaser's talents. That is just very, very good that they prevented this. I think This Town Ain't Big Enough is the card that's I didn't have on the radar at all. And Hopeless Nightmare these two, they surprised me. Like everything else I would have expected somewhat. I would have actually gone with, Omniscience over Abuelos, but fine, they want to keep a card that is like 5 years standard legal. Abuelos will be gone soon in 2 years anyways. So yeah, it's fine. I totally understand. But still, I would have gone with that. For the rest, I totally agree. And the two cards, Hopeless Nightmare and This Town and Big Enough, absolute sleeper surprise cards. They just banned everything. Every single card we hate is gone. So yeah, the reason also for more, let's get into more details now. Cori-steel Cutter just was a card that was played way too much. People just played it way too much. Every single format, every single standard tournament was dominated by Cori-steel Cutter decks. They made half of the top 8. The only reason that Mono Red was in there, and they still also targeted Mono Red decks, don't you get it wrong. They still knew that the only reason Mono Red was so strong was because it could play the main board freaking Lizard, Magebane Lizard that I was playing already in Modern way back in the day. So yeah, that is a very, very good decision. Also, Monstrous, Rage, Heartfire, Hero both banned. One of the bigger reasons that they also named was that you have to be ready on turn 2 or turn 1, latest turn 2, to have an answer for this. If you don't, they just go out of control and you're done. So absolutely goodbye, my friend, the game is over. And that is something that with Heartfire Hero gone, very, very wise decision. You are not forced to play exile spells anymore, which is very good. I think we will see a resurgence of the Shrimp also, and maybe the Fling creature, maybe all this Rakdos kind of style will be back. But them losing Heartfire Hero will make it a little bit harder. But they still have the Shrimp and they still have the Bird, the Slickshot Show Off, So that is absolutely A-okay. So yeah, Abuelo's Awakening. There's not much to say here. I think the reasoning behind it is very logical, and I think it's very, very good that they tackled this one right away, that they just decided, you know what, Abuelo's Awakening will be the main deck played, and it's very, very hard to beat, especially if we take away Monstrous Rage and Heartfire Hero and, Cori-steel Cutter, all three of them. Abuelo's Awakening was one of the decks that was playing Answers anyways, with very, very easily mainboardable This Town and Big Enough temporary lockdown. And they didn't want everything to just be temporary lockdown and Elspeth Smite. So they know Abuelo's Awakening is that, but other decks shouldn't be forced to play that because otherwise they have no chance against Abuelo's Awakening. So I think knowing that the meta will shake up, but they don't just want to return to meta from 3 months ago when Cori-steel Cutter wasn't a thing, or 5 months ago when Cori-steel Cutter wasn't a thing. They just want to go to a new meta, and I think that's very, very smart. So banning stuff like Up the Beanstalk, just not to have the Zur deck running rampant, very, very, very smart. I think that is a very wise decision. Hopeless Nightmare and This Town and Big Enough just to, prevent the Fields bet against Pixies, because Pixies is still going to be strong. They still have very, very good cards. They just won't have the explosiveness of Hopeless Nightmare, because there is another card that is very fair in my opinion, and I always feel like, why are you playing this and not Hopeless Nightmare, is this Dragonstorm, the Black Dragonstorm, where you get drained for 2 and you survey 2. That is already very good enough. You don't have to make him discard a card even, that, what the heck? Plus survey 3/2 for 3, 3 mana, 2 survey anytime, or whenever this gets sacked, you can just sack it for 3 and survey. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But art by Dominic Meyer. So I think this is the first Dominic Meyer art that gets banned. So I have to buy all of them, all of the arts before, it's out of permission or whatever. I've been awake for more than 24 hours now. How much has it been? 24 plus, let's say, 6, 7. Yeah, that's 32 hours. Yeah, that's fine. 32 hours. That's a good number. 7 bans. 32 hours. And I knew it would happen today. So I didn't dare to sleep. I didn't dare to sleep so I could be here and bring you the good news. The good kazoo news. We did it! We defeated the evil that is Cori-steel Cutter and the evil that is Monstrous Rage. And the lesser evils as well. But every evil got beaten. Now there's no problematic card. If there is some, let me know down below in the comments. Deck tags will be back tomorrow. A little late because there was something messed up. They should have been here 2 days ago, but now they will be here tomorrow, so don't you miss out on that. And yeah, remember my friend, if you wake it up tomorrow morning and see a beautiful, beautiful face of yours in the mirror, that all of you are pretty freaking sweet. I'm MtgG Malone, and I will see you all tomorrow without Cori-steel cutter.